Well, hello and welcome to our channel. My name is Marcus and I want to show you how can you build a forecast using Power BI engine. Okay, Power BI has a very simple but powerful forecasting tool that you can use in line charts, especially if you want to forecast sales, for example, if you want to forecast prices. The key here is that you have a good amount of historical data so the engine can run its model and make sure that your forecast is as accurate as it can get. Okay, so as you can see on the screen here, I have like the actual values in green or blue. I'm not good with colors, and you have the forecast here with this gray area. Okay, that's what I want to show you how to do. If you're not subscribed to our channel yet, please do that right now. Leave your thumbs up in your comments below. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna open up a new tab. This is just what we're gonna build together. I'm gonna open a new tab here in Power BI, and let me open this build view. We want to start off with a line chart. Okay, so let me select the line chart right here. Let me expand this, and for the data, for the x-axis, we want to add a date value. Okay, we always want to have a date range or a date trend to forecast against. And for the metric, we're going to use, let's use sales quantity. Okay. I'm actually put that on the x-axis. Let's put that in the y-axis. Okay, perfect. So I have the quantity of products sold, in this case per year. So let me drill down a little bit this is by quarter. Let's get it by month. Perfect. Okay. So we do have sales quantity by month. Right? And let's say we want to have a quick and simple forecast just to help our planning team, our negotiations team with our suppliers. And Power BI can give you that pretty easily if you have a good amount of data. Okay, so the key is that you need to have at least 30 data points, 30 historical data points, right? In this case, I have data by day, as you can see. Okay, let me go up a step. Which is fine, right? So we have at least 365 data points for each year, and we have data here for 4 years or 3 years, I guess. Now, yeah, we do have plenty of historical data. So that's the key. You need to have as much historical data as you can, so the forecasting model can do its magic and work more perfectly. So the more data you have, more accurate the forecast will be. Okay, so in order to add the forecast here, I have the view selected. It's very simple. You just click on the format pane, and you see here forecast. Okay, I'm gonna click this option, and I'm gonna click on more options. Okay, oops, let me close this one up. And as you can see, it created a line with the forecast in a very wide range, right? Because the forecast does that. It has a range with the predicted forecast, but also an upper band and a lower band where your value can fall into, okay, like an umbrella. So we're gonna scroll down to the forecast option down here and have a bunch of options. Okay. So in this case, my data is down to the monthly level. So in this case, I want to forecast 12 months ahead. Okay, so let me change that. I can ignore maybe your last month isn't full. Or your last month was an outlier, right? It was Black Friday month or whatever. So you can ignore that in the forecast calculation if you want to. I'm just going to leave it blank. Seasonality, I'm going to leave it 12 because if you know what your seasonality looks like, in this case, I know that every 12 points or every 12 months, we should expect some sort of seasonality happening, right? Due to demand, due to promotions. Whatever. I can change the confidence interval. That would change the band, the upper band and the lower band in the forecasting. I can move this down to 80%, right? And if you hit apply, you see how the forecast changed, mainly because I changed the seasonality here. So I told the model that every 12 points, you should expect a seasonality. And that's what I did. Like I have the actuals here in green, and then it starts with the forecasting. I have data up until December 2013, but in January I can see what happened. And we can expect this sudden drop in January and February. And let's just look at past and historical data to see if that has been the case. Okay, so if I go back to December 2012, I can see that in January, all of a sudden we saw a declining down to March, and then in April, things started to get better. If I go back to 2012, this is 10 years ago, I have again December, high peak in sales, and then a big drop in January, February, March, and then it starts to pick up in April. So we can see that my data has that seasonality, which is great. This model that Power BI uses, if your data is very seasonal, it has a very consistent trend, then the model works perfectly. It works very, very well. But if your data is very, very complex, it has a lot of outliers, then this model might not be the best case for you. But we saw that, so we can see here that the forecasting is that we see a drop in January, in February down until March, and then we start to see the increase in April, right? So I'm starting to see this forecast as reliable because it's based off of the historical data. And overall, we can see that the data is trending up, right? So let's see if we can add a trend line. There we go. So overall, we see that even though we see that decline in January and February in the first quarter, we do see that year over year, the total sales or the sales quantity is increasing. So that's why we see the same trend for our forecasting model, okay? And you have here the data points where you can reference to. You have the forecast, the actual number, and you have the upper bound and lower bound. So very, very good if you have a good amount of data, okay? Power BI uses what is called exponential smoothing. It's a forecasting technique it's fairly simple, right? It basically uses the past historical data and it applies different weights for previous months. So it basically gives more weight to the months closer to the beginning of the forecast. So in this case, December had a higher weight than November, and then October, and so forth. So this data point right here, January 2011, participated in the forecasting calculation model, but had a very, very low weight. That's how exponential smoothing work, because it exponentially decreases the weight of each data point the more far it gets from the beginning of the forecast, if that makes sense, okay? You can do that as exponential smoothing with Excel formulas as well if you're using Excel, but here in Power BI, magic, right? They calculate it and just add it to your data. Again, if your data is very trendy, it's very seasonal, it works very, very well. So it's a reliable tool that you can use for planning, right? And you can see a few data points or a few months or a few years into the future, okay? Hope you like the content. If so, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, your comments below, and subscribe to our channel, okay? See you next time.